are live.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a beautiful cloudy afternoon here in the Sabi Sands. Look at that. Like a painting. So, I think the stage is set for a wonderful sunset safari. It's great to have you all with us. My name is Scott. I'm teamed up with VM on camera. We've got James heading out on the other vehicle. He's got some exciting news, but that's all I'm going to say. There's something potentially great that is going to happen on his vehicle in a few moments' time, but you're going to have to wait and see. Brent is back from leave. He can wait a moment for me to finish chatting with you guys, and then I'll get a hold of him. I'm sure it's not urgent. A few important things are happening this afternoon. Firstly, it's Nikki's final drive directing the show, so obviously exciting and sad, and it's her last time. Tomorrow at least she's going to be out on the vehicle on the afternoon, so some of you will get to see her and ask her some questions. So that is something to look forward to, but that's sad that it is her last drive. On a happy note, we've got a tea party arranged. Gracie, I'm sorry that we didn't do it yesterday or the day before or the day before that, but it is happening today, and we are on our way to the Arethusa airstrip where we are going to have a wonderful little tea party. So I'm really looking forward to that. After that, Gracie, I think we're going to go and look for the Inkahuma Pride, which I'm told are somewhere. The guys think they are somewhere around Arethusa. They had their tracks this morning, but couldn't find them. It's very hot. It's about 33 degrees Celsius, which is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm guessing the lions are going to be sleepy for the next hour or so, which is perfect because that's when we're going to be having the tea party anyway. Let's continue. And see what we can find. There's some elephant tracks on the road here. Sadly, they're going in the wrong direction. But always wonderful to know that there actually just has been an interesting animal moving through the area that we are now moving. I like to, when only seeing the tracks, just imagine a big elephant bull walking right towards us now, and it's almost as good as seeing the real thing. Well, even though there's a lot of clouds in the sky, I don't think there's going to be any rain this afternoon, which is kind of good for us, but not good for the bush. It's incredibly dry at the moment, and any of you who may be joining for the first time, it's important that you know that we are in the middle of a large drought here. Usually the ground would be covered in green grass at this time of the year, but look at how dry and barren it is. Even the leaves are yellowing as if it's autumn, which it certainly is. Live safari, it's happening this very second. If you don't believe me, send through your thoughts to #SafariLive on Twitter, and or send an email through to questions@wildearth.tv, and we will prove you wrong and we'll get back to you. So let us know if it is your first time watching. Let me get a hold of Brent now. Brent, go ahead.
Just went to the last version of Korea. So we've got the carcass and stuff. Where exactly was she lying at?
She was lying up further east, further down on the riverbed, basically, just on the edge of that bank. Cool, we're going to send you across to James right now. See you later.
I'll make the same time.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, we were just in the process of trying to remove a light here because it's obstructing the camera. Brent Leo Smith's powerful voice was broadcasting over the Game Drive radio, and everything just got on top of us suddenly. Now, good afternoon. Welcome. And to Wendy, and we do hope that the signal on this car is going to be good this afternoon, because we have something of a treat to show you. Whether or not we're going to be able to maintain it through the course of the afternoon, I don't know, but if we can't, Scott will come back here at some stage during the afternoon and show it to you. My name is James Hendry, for those of you who've just joined us, and it is marvellous to have you with us. On camera today we have Dave. Dave is dressed in some very camouflaged clothing today. Dave, is that new?
Yeah, new uniform.
New uniform, very nice, very nice. Lovely bottle green uniform there. Okay, good, goes with the blue hat. And on the final control, as you know, Nicola Austin's final drive in this incarnation as a director. So, Nicola, let's have a good performance from you, singing sweetly in my ear throughout the course of the afternoon. We are live, just as Scott is live, hashtag Safari Live if you want to talk to us on Twitter, questions at wildearth.tv if you want to ask us anything, or YouTube, you can talk to us on the YouTube chat as well. Now, over here, David, if I might, before on you to point your camera nose towards the ground there. It looks like something has been dragged upon the ground there, and unsurprisingly, that is in fact the case. If it looks like something has been dragged, normally something has been dragged. And it looks like something very large was dragged there, but in fact it wasn't something very large. It was something relatively small. It was an adult female impala. Now, the only reason to drag something like that along the ground is if you want to stash it somewhere. And of course, the only animal that would want to stash it somewhere would be a female leopard. Now, in here, earlier today, somebody found Karula in a tree with an adult female impala. She was supping on it. She seems to have moved. I haven't actually been in there, but we're going to drive in and have a look. Brent has gone round just to have a look in the drainage line below here to see if she isn't lying up in the shade. She may also have gone off to have a little bit of water. There are lots of puddles around the place, so she could have gone there. We're not really sure. Anyway, the other interesting thing is just before, or as we drive in there, is that her tracks crossed out again sometime last night into the drainage line in the Mulwati drainage line just to the south of us, and I think it's looking pretty good, to be honest, that she might just have managed to keep her cubs. Let's hold our thumbs and cross our toes. Here we go. If we go black screen, I'm sorry, Scott will come back here at some stage. Nikita, are we okay? So far, so good. Marvellous, marvellous news. Now, I think... There's the impala. Just going to ease in here, Dave. She could be anywhere around, lying in the shade.
I don't see the impala.
Don't worry, you will. We're just going to get a little bit forward. It's in the kind of first tall fork. You got it there. We're still live, everybody. Sorry about the black screen. And Leo Smith, the inimitable, sitting below us, has spotted the leopard. Now, whether I can get into a position we can see her, I don't know. Brenda's not very well... Oh, I see, yes. Very well spotted there. There she is. Darth, if you just point your camera straight around the left-hand side of this bush in front of us, you will see the dappled spots and golden pelage of an 11-year-old female leopard with a slightly flat nose. You see her? David, go to the right. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop. Go left a bit. She's there. Zoom in as far as you can there. There, you can see her breathing. Just in the corner there. Okay, I have slightly parked you behind a tree, so let me just move slightly. Of course, Wendy is not the youngest girl. She's a bit like Karula, really. It takes a bit of a while to get going. Actually go. Don't want to put her in the tree because I know that she has been a little ornery with vehicles of late.
Watch your hat.
I will move. Can you see it now, Dave?
Just in front of your head.
There. You got her?
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. So that's the best view we're going to get of her at the moment, everyone. And she's lying up in the shade there because trees are not comfortable for leopards to lie in. Just like you, if you try and climb a tree and drape yourself over it, you'll eventually find that it crushes your ribs or a branch sticks into an uncomfortable spot. And so if they can be away from the tree and lie up in the shade and the softness of the leaf litter, then that is what they will do. How very, very exciting to see her again. And of course, what we will be trying to see during the course of this afternoon is whether or not she is suckling. Has she got suckle marks on her belly? And she's panting because it's warm. It's not that hot, but it's warm. But it's certainly not too hot at the moment, so she'll be panting because it's hot and because she's full of food. Charlie, hello. You want to know if there's any sign of cubs? No, not yet, Charlie, but she has been going to and fro across the southern boundary at the junction with the drainage line that we're parked over now. And that is an indicator that she's going to and from one position. Now, that position that she's going to and from could well house some little cubs. They would at this stage be, what would we say, 3 or 4 weeks old, which means she would be on the verge of starting to walk around with them a little bit, probably 2 weeks to go, if they are still there. So I wouldn't hold out any hope of seeing her for the next 2 weeks with the cubs. Darby, will you just tell me if you lose sight of her? I mean, she looks like you've got sight. I just can't see the monitor very well. We can try, Darv, but like I say, I don't want to block her from the kill. We will move very slightly forward. Say when?
More inches. There we are.
Okay. There we go. That, everybody, was David's first actual words without prompting on live television. Well done, David. So she is panting because it is hot, and she would have eaten. I can't see, the carcass is beautifully hidden up in that tree there, and I can't see how much of it she's actually devoured. She's cleaning her paws, which in turn will clean her face. Now, what I want you to do, everybody, is remove yourself from whatever situation you happen to find yourself. I know that a lot of you will be watching from work. Some of you perhaps in meetings. What I want you to do is remove yourself from that situation, dive into your computer screen or your TV screen, and I'm going to be quiet for a few seconds, and I want you to just absorb the atmosphere. A wind blowing in gently from the southeast, the odd bird calling, and Africa's most beautiful predator panting gently in the shade in front of you. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Now, if that doesn't touch something deep inside you, well, I'm not sure anything will, really. I'm just going to watch her behavior quite carefully. Now, like I say, she has been a little bit uncomfortable with vehicles of late. And she looked a little bit there like she gave a bit of a hiss. And what I'll do then, I'm afraid, is back off quite close, quite a bit, just so that if she wants to come to the kill, she can. She won't feel uncomfortable to do so. And the one little piece of advice I would give you on a technical front is that if you are watching this, sorry, I'm just trying to keep an eye on the leopard. I know my head's getting in the way every so often. It's just because she's had that one little hiss at us. Make sure that you have a decent pair of headphones or speakers when you're watching this, because the sounds of Africa are often just as magnificent as the sights. She may not have hissed, she may have actually just been sneezing. She's watching us quite carefully. At the moment, she's very relaxed. And as I was just listening, we were watching some of our drives this morning. What we do is twice a week, we go through some of the drive stuff and we comment on each other. And I remember Scott saying on one of the drives that when an animal shows that it is uncomfortable with you, the first thing that you do is back off. And so if she does start to show any form of discomfort, because we are parked basically right between her and the kill, and she could go past us, and certainly before she would have. But if she does show any discomfort, we will reverse out. And so the view might become compromised, so I'm just warning you about that. We do want to be as sensitive as possible, especially as she might have youngsters. We don't want to stress her in any shape, way, or form. Now, Tim, you're in Arkansas, and a very nice question about when a female leopard will teach her cubs to climb trees, if indeed that's what she does. Tim, a leopard cub will be able to climb a tree from about 6 weeks, and so that 6-week thing is quite crucial. It's a crucial period. I'm just going to keep an eye on her, and so yeah, 6 weeks or so. Will she teach them? I think there's quite a lot of leopard behavior that is, we don't know how much is nurture and how much is nature. I don't think she will teach them to climb trees any more than your domestic cats have to be taught to climb trees. They just know how to do it. They will engage in an element of hunting training, but again, the kind of instinct to stalk and pounce seems to be entirely inbred, totally born of the genetics. So I think tree climbing is very much in that category, a natural or instinctual response and instinctual behavior. Of course, you can debate for years and years. Oh, here we go. We got action, Dave. There she goes. Just, David, if I can ask you to sit relatively still if she comes past. Franklin has just seen her from all the way across the drainage line. You can hear it. Listen.
Watch your head, James.
Just sit still, everyone. Don't move anyone. Don't breathe. David, move very slowly when you move around, okay? There you go. Well done. This is just too precious for words, everyone. I'm just going to be quiet and let's watch what happens. Listen to the Franklin. And James Richard, you're going to have to hold off on comments like this, I think, for the course of the afternoon, because they're going to result in tears from the final control. A very kind comment. You say you're so lucky to have seen Karula, the Queen, just before Scott and Mickey leave. Absolutely. Station from Cheetah Plains come in.
Bye-bye.
Sorry, Andrew, I've had my radio down. Please, will you come? We are to the north of you. You need to come in very, very slowly and to the northern side of where I am. Isn't this amazing?
All right. I was told it. So
Oh, you can. Yeah, I know. If you probably get a good view from the drainage there. If you can go into the drainage, you'll probably actually get a great view. She's just gone up the tree. Yeah, in fact, everybody, it would be nice for us to go into the drainage line, but I just don't think that we'd actually be able to get any signal to you from there. What I am going to do is just move slightly back, and Dave, you'll tell me if we've got a picture, will you? Okay. I think we're going to get... He's like... Sorry, I was being whacked over the head by a piece of saffron branch. Ooh, I don't know about this. Can you see that?
No.
Not great.
It's not bad, James.
Is it not too bad? I can't make it out. Oh, I see. Okay, that'll do. You can see her just giving a bit of a hiss there. And I think that's just because she's a little uncomfortable with life at the moment. So I think we're going to park here. I'm afraid I don't know that we're going to get a better view of her than we have now. Go ahead.
You know, I hate to admit that I'm wrong, but she's got different psychologies.
This is a marvellous, marvellous piece of news I've just got from Brent Leo Smith. He was parked down in the drainage line there as she moved and as she climbed up. He says she has got definite suckle marks. Isn't that great? Marvellous news. Copy, thank you. I've told the viewers. That is really exciting, everyone. Sorry, Nikki, can you go again with your last message?
The water drainage. Best access is not drainage from drinking.
Now, let's do, I think, one of the best things to do in these situations after a leopard has been so marvellously graceful is a quick slow-mo of her going up into the tree. Watch this. Okay, Dave and I are just quickly discussing this. Action replay, I mean, it's like a live sportscast. We're going to just try and reposition. Dave suggested another area. Of course, Wendy is about as quiet as a bulldozer at the moment.
Hold it there, James. That's better.
Is that right? Oh, well done, Dave. Good job. And then everybody, thank you very much. Nikki has sent through a message to say to extend her grateful thanks for the kind messages that you've sent through to her about, the good luck and the thanks for all that they've done. And I'm sure those will continue to flow in during the course of the afternoon. But she's just expressed how grateful she is for all the encouragement and thanks that you've given to her. So thank you all for that. And for those of you who are wondering what on earth we're talking about, Nikki and Scott, the best-looking couple in the bush, really, they're moving on to other things for now. They may be back, they may not, we're not sure. But they're leaving us, unfortunately, on Sunday morning. Oh, did you smell that, Dave?
No.
It doesn't smell like this kill's too fresh, does it? That's, does smell a bit rotten. I wonder if it hasn't been here maybe 2 days or so. That could well be why she was going to and from across the road, you know, to the south of us. This is so exciting. I just had a feeling in me bones that maybe she still had youngsters. And Basica and so many of you are now so excited that perhaps her cubs are going to be fine. Remember, they're not out of the woods. They, or it, is not out of the woods, of course. At 6 weeks, it'll start moving with her, and then we might be able to get a view. Once it can climb a tree, we will be prepared to view it. But you definitely, of course, won't bring it to a kill site like this. Remember that this will be a magnet for hyenas, and she lost her last cub to hyenas. And she won't be bringing it to anywhere near a kill until it is much older. Well done, old girl. Isn't that marvelous? Ha! A leopard cub, hopefully a male, and I say that simply because they are just the best fun when they're young males. They become much less fun when they're older because they show a disdain, unlike the females, which kind of remain consistent their whole lives. But a young male leopard is, to my mind, next to a pack of wild dogs, the most fun thing in the bush. Inquisitive, beautiful. But time will tell which or how many or what they are. So as I said, an adult female impala, and she's dragged it into a beautiful ebony tree or jackalberry tree. It's an excellent leopard tree, this one. No hyena will be able to climb up there. A lion probably could. And a lion, of course, is an enormous scavenger. But she could either take it higher or just climb up higher herself if she felt there was a threat. Nice question here from Hanu Sakari. Hanu Sakari, that sounds like an interesting name, so I'd really like to know if you talk to us again, please tell us where you're from. Hanu Sakari, you're on YouTube at the moment, but that's obviously not where you live. I want to know how high a leopard can jump. It's difficult to say, except to say that if you have a leopard in an enclosure, for example, you know, there are legal requirements if you're going to have a rehabilitation centre or something like that. And there was one stage of my life where we were looking into building one for animals that were found just north of Palaboa, out in the communal lands, and that we wanted to try and reintroduce back to the wild. And a leopard fence has got to be, I think, at least 3 meters high. Now, that is about 14 feet. And it has to have a kind of electrified lip to that. So very high is the answer. I'm not sure they could clear 14 feet, but they could certainly jump and then climb over a fence of about that height. I would say a leopard, I've seen a leopard jumping into the air to catch a bird, probably 2 meters, just over maybe 8 feet, just over. It's pretty high. Now, Ainsl's Aegis, I hope we're pronouncing that correctly. You're also on YouTube, and you want to know, will they send through, or will a leopard stay in the same place for its whole life? Will they have a territory? Absolutely. The females, like some of Karula's cubs, will set up a territory next to their mothers, and they will remain in that area for their whole lives. And then the males will normally disperse and go off and set up a territory quite often a long way away from where they were born. David, you must tell me if I might be scratching my ear or something when you put the camera on me. So a male will normally set up a territory away from his natal territory or his mother's territory, unless, as is the case, it's happening here, the father of those males is getting old, and perhaps his territory is, it's coming for his time to retire, as it were, and go into the long night. So what we have a situation here where we've got her last two cubs, or her second to last two surviving cubs, two males, are operating still within their father's territory to the south of us here. Their father is now 13, he's getting old, he's losing muscle mass, he probably won't be able to maintain a territory in the face of a challenge from a younger, stronger male. And so it's quite possible that her sons will set up a territory next to her. Now, that does mean that inbreeding can happen. It does mean that they might mate with their sister, if there's a sister coming up, and certainly there are a couple of sisters around the place. But with leopards, that's okay. It's okay for about 6 generations. We don't get major sort of defects before then, and it's totally normal for that to happen. But normally the males will disperse to try and keep the sort of genetic what do I want to say? To increase the gene pool in the leopard population. Flies. So a lovely view there. I mean, now you can imagine walking past here. I know that's not the best view of her, of course, because she's got her face hidden behind the stick or the large branch, but just a wonderful example of how many times we must have driven past leopards and had no idea that they were there. Now, Gracie, aged 8, I hope that you are ready. I hope your Cinderella dress is on. I hope that you have not had any lunch today, or what would you have had, breakfast today. I hope that you are very hungry because you're about to have tea from a spectacular location on Arathusa Private Game Reserve. I'm going to hand you over to Scott, who is ready to have his tea party with you. Have a lovely time, and we'll see you back here just now.
Follow me, Gracie. We're going up the stairs, right up top there, and that's where we're going to have the tea party. Let's go. I'm so excited, Gracie. You're halfway. Look at the view. How cool is that? Still some more steps, though. And you're at the top. Take a look, and next thing you know, you're here. Welcome, Gracie, and very, very happy to finally be having the tea party with you. Now, I must say that I'm quite sorry, and I need to apologize on behalf of a few people, because I didn't bring the right muffins. We've got biscuits instead. They are very tasty biscuits. They're called tennis biscuits. And I don't know if you get them in America, but we love them here in South Africa. I did plan to bring some delicious vanilla muffins that I was going to put some of my homemade marula jam on, but it turns out that James and Brian found the muffins that I'd hidden in the fridge for you. I'd hidden them behind a watermelon, and James and Brian found them. But they didn't know that it was for our tea party, so we can't be angry with them. But it's quite funny that they ate our muffins, and they didn't know that they were ours. Because it's very hot today, Gracie, I've made a nice, cold, delicious chocolate milk drink. So I'm going to fill your glass up now. This is the best. We call it Nesquik. I don't know if you have Nesquik in America, but it's our South African #1 chocolate milk. And it's very, very cold. We need to say thank you to Kirsty for lending us her fancy flask. Very good. Now you'll also notice, Gracie, that there's some leaves on the plate. It's not a salad, it's just for decoration, so don't worry, you don't need to eat the leaves, it's just so it looks pretty. And now, before we have any food though, I'm sure you want to have a look at the view. So take a look here, Gracie. There's the one end of the airstrip showing poor old Biam's got a difficult job here with that big camera, but there you can see the end of the airstrip out there. And that's where the planes turn around once they've landed. And that's where you usually see us driving around. And we can show you something else that's a little bit interesting. We can show you a bird's eye view of our car, which is straight below us there. Look at how high we are. So that's the view down into where we sit. And yeah, I can tell you one thing, Gracie, it's very windy and this whole thing's swaying in the wind, so it's actually a little bit scary. I don't know if you can hear it creaking. So we're going to have to be well behaved up here, not too much running around. And I'm so glad we're finally doing this, Gracie, and I hope you are enjoying our tea party. I'm sure that James and Jamie and Brent will continue to take you on tea parties when I'm gone, so don't worry, and I'm going to miss you a lot. And thank you for all of your questions. Thank you for always joining us on the safaris. It's always wonderful to have you with us. Cool. I think you guys want to go back and see Karula, I'm guessing. I'm going to stay here until you guys maybe come back to finish off the chocolate milk. But why don't you go back to James for a quick look at what he's up to, and then we'll finish the tea party when you come back. It's so good.
Well, I hope, Gracie, that was a wonderful tea party then, that you enjoyed the chocolate milk. Viam, of course, drinks more chocolate milk than he does water, and so for him it's not unusual, but for Scott to have chocolate milk, it's wonderful. And I must just apologize profusely for having eaten the muffins. I promise I didn't know that they were going to be at the tea party today, and it wasn't only me, it was Brian as well. Brian and I both had a muffin this morning, and unfortunately we didn't know that Scott had planned to give them to you for your tea party, Gracie, so I'm very sorry, and I will have to make amends somehow, and you can tell me how I can do that. I hope you had a good tea party. Just wonderful that Scott was able to achieve that. The leopard has not moved. She's having her tea party, of course. She's having a slightly different fare. She's having raw meat. And I said this was an impala, but I don't think it is. I think it's actually a young kudu. And Dave, you can't see the head, can you? No, the head is just behind the bush there. I can see the head of whatever it is that she's killed. It's kudu-sized, sort of young kudu-sized and kudu-coloured. There we go. And also very large kind of ears of a young kudu, so I think that's what it is. Remember, we've seen lots of young kudu in the last little while. And perfect targets for a female leopard like this. They get left alone when their mothers go off to have a drink, and then they come back. And, you know, if a leopard happens to stumble across a young kudu, it's just very easy pickings. They'll have hardly any smell, interestingly, when they're little, and that's why they can be left alone behind the bushes on their own. Darlene, this is a question that I'm not sure will ever be answered, and I think it's a very valid one and a very interesting one. You're in New Hampshire, and you want to know if I think a male leopard would recognize his own cubs, either from scent, or if he would just assume they were his from the fact that they are within a female's territory, a female that he knows he's mated with. Darlene, I'm in two minds about it. Leopards mate with multiple males, the females, and that could be, I suspect quite strongly, that's to try and con them all into believing that the youngsters that they next see are their own. It might be seeking out the strongest genes, except that there's, well, it's possible that that's what it is. So it's possible that they have what we call sperm competition, which happens, the most obvious example of where that happens is with chimpanzees, where females will mate with multiple males, and sometimes the litters actually have multiple paternity, and that we think it might happen with leopards, but we don't know for sure. Now, does a male then recognize his babies by scent? Oh, I would tend to say yes, because, I mean, we as human beings with our highly insensitive noses, when we smell people who are family, we can absolutely tell. We can smell a familiarity that is there. But whether that's because we've developed it growing up with our families, and so it smells like home, not necessarily because it is home, but because we've grown up and we've actually learned the smell of our kith and kin, I don't know. I suspect it's probably a combination of both, but I will say this, and I think this is important, that a huge amount of mammal social structure and mating structure is defined by the fact that infanticide is such an enormous part of mammal social structure, from human beings down to bush babies, cats, dogs, monkeys, probably not so much in the herbivores, but infanticide is a big thing, and I think a large part of how a female mates with a male is to do with avoiding that situation. Therefore, I would say that the mating with multiple males has quite a lot to do with trying to avoid that, and therefore I'm not convinced as to how much of a role the smell plays when a male meets a cub. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Thank you, Darlene. I think it's a wonderful question. Right, let's head back to Gracie's tea party. We'll stay here at Karula's tea party.
2, 1. And seeing as though we've already finished our very tasty chocolate milk and biscuits, Gracie, now we're just going to have a quick look at the view. Sometimes you remember that little waterhole that we're looking at has got water in it. But now, like most of the waterholes, it's very, very dry. But I'm sure if you remember it, and hopefully the next few weeks you'll get some rain, and next time the guys are on drive here, you'll know what that waterhole looks like from the bird's eye view. And I do feel like a bird up here. I don't know about you, Gracie. So, thank you very much for joining me all the way in Africa on this most enjoyable tea party. And I'm sorry that I didn't do it sooner, because it's been so much fun, Gracie. And now we're going to have to get down from here and start looking for the lions, which I'm sure you'll be happy to see. So we're going to say goodbye for now, and thank you very much. Like I say, I'm sure that James and Brent and Jamie are going to be taking on some more tea parties. So it's the first, and it's definitely not the last. And I'm sure they're going to have just as much fun as I've had with you. So thank you very much. I'm going to say goodbye for now, and we will see you later when we're back in the vehicle.
Still here at Karula's tea party. She's looking at you, Gracie. She's saying, why wasn't she invited to the tea party? It's much nicer to have rusks and tennis biscuits than rotting meat in a tree. But she said, oh, look, there she's looking at you. She says it's okay. She'll get over it. Here she comes down the tree. Here she comes. Look at the grace of the way she climbs down. She's coming down, Dave. There we go. Now just watch her carefully, watch her behavior. Now let's see if we can see her suckle marks. Sneezing. She's like Brian. Oh, this is just marvelous. And as we watch Karula just relaxing on the ground there, again, uncomfortable in the car, of course. And sorry, uncomfortable in the tree, not in the car. Should be very uncomfortable in the car. Rosie St. Lamb, you say, I don't know what has got over and come over me. You say that because we ate the muffins, we should sing the Muffin Man song. Maybe, Rosie, I will give a rendition of the Muffin Man song. Will I do it in front of this leopard? Absolutely not. Right, I'm just going to update Tax as to what's going on here. Taxon is on drive and he's coming down this way. This is an incredible view. Wow, she's not far from us now. She's only about 4 meters, so about 16 feet or so, 15 feet. And so we're just going to make sure that we're relatively quiet. Here's a lovely question from Ashley in Missouri. Ashley, you want to know if the drought makes it harder for her to raise cubs because of the lack of cover? No, not at all. It actually has probably the opposite effect. It's probably easier for her to raise cubs because it's easier for her to catch antelope. The antelope will be weaker from the lack of food. There will be lots of them. Yes, the cover is compromised, but for a leopard that isn't a major problem in this particular area. But there's going to be lots and lots of weak prey that she can prey upon, and therefore she'll be able to produce lots of milk for her young cubs. Oh, now, Keith, you want to know how far from where we think the cubs might be the kill is. Keith, I'm not sure how long you've been watching or how well you know the reserve, but you can find the reserve on Google Maps, stick it in Djuma, and we're on a road called Twin Dams, and we're sitting probably only about 500 meters or 400 meters as the crow flies from the southern boundary, and we think she's probably another same again into the property to the south of us. So, what would you say? Just under a kilometer, 800 meters or so, half a mile. 800 meters is exactly half a mile. I'm just quickly going to update Tax on. Tax, do you copy Tax? Tax, I don't know what the visual is like from the drainage line. There is space for one more vehicle on top of the drainage. Yeah, if just get an update from Andrew though. I don't know what the view is like where he is. I don't think they can see her at all from the bottom there. They would have had a great view of her in the tree. Now, I don't want to pressure this leopard, as I'm sure many of you will appreciate. So I think the chances are that when the next person comes in here, we will move out. And I think we'll probably come back, or maybe Scott will come back to just see her in case it's for the last time. Well, for the last time in this incarnation, as I say. And we'll just leave her to eat in peace for a little while in the afternoon. I don't want to put too much pressure on her. And again, just every so often you can see her look up, her ears go down a little bit. She just lifts her top lip. It's not an indication that she's very angry or that she's irritated, but it's not how I know leopards to be around cars. And so there is still an element of her that is not comfortable. So I think once the other vehicle comes in here, we're going to give her some space, and then we'll come back a little bit later on, or Scott can come back a little bit later on. Does that sound all right, everyone? Tax, do you copy Tax? Tax, come along Twin Dams, just south of Junction Elephant Carcass. I will move out when you get in here. Oh, there, look. There we can see suckle marks. We can definitely see suckle marks. Wonderful. That kind of yellow matted fur around her teeth. Station's Karula has just walked down into the drainage line. We'll go a little bit further forward, see if we can spot her. Andrew, she's walked straight down into the drainage underneath the tree. Watch your heads, everybody. Okay, you know what? I think she's moving in order to try and get a little bit of privacy. I know that might sound a little ridiculous, but I think that is the case. And so I'm going to suggest we move out. We'll let Tax and Andrew stay here for a little while longer, and then we, of course, can come back any time we like during the course of the drive. So I think we'll come back a bit later, if that's all right. Okay. Watch your heads, everybody. We also can't follow her down there in this car. We will lose signal, unfortunately. All right. What a wonderful, wonderful treat. Marvelous stuff.
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back in the vehicle with us. Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back in the vehicle with us.
Welcome back to ground level, and we have literally just pulled away from the air traffic control, and if we turn this way around here we'll be able to give you a bit of a view. There's the little pan that we were looking at, and then further to the left behind the tree is where we were sitting having the tea party. Woohoo! That's where we were, right up there. And wasn't that so much fun? I think so, but now we need to go and look for some animals. Apologies for the tech difficulties, but I'm sure all of you are aware that live safaris come with the odd technical glitch from time to time, and you thankfully haven't missed out on any major action. Oh, Gracie, happy that you have told James not to worry about eating the muffin, firstly, and also thank you so much. You said it felt like Christmas Day, and I couldn't have asked for a kinder compliment. So you're too kind, and thank you for joining me, Gracie. It was so much fun, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I think, like you say, James needs to stick to eating leaves and not only the muffins, but I think you may have told them not to eat those leaves because they were for dessert, so I mean for decorations. So well done. Oh, you said you must leave the leaves for the animals, of course, especially during the drought. There's hardly enough leaves for them. So he must rather eat human food. That's a very good idea. Good. We're going to go and see what animals we can find now. I'm not too sure what James is up to. Didn't he find you guys a wonderful surprise with Karula? And I'm sure if she hasn't got up to much action yet, that she will get a little bit more active later on. And the most exciting news, I guess, is that there are confirmed suckle marks. So I know I was wrong. I was speaking on behalf of everyone, saying that we all thought that she didn't have cubs. I can guarantee for myself that I didn't. So 10 points to Karula, and I guess she's been a very clever leopard, hiding from us and all the other animals that can cause trouble to her cubs. So very, very exciting news, and who knows when we're going to see them next, hopefully soon. Good, it sounds like James has got signal again, and not only does he have signal, but he also has some animals.
So we found quite a large breeding herd of elephants here. They're not particularly pleased to see us, so we're going to keep our distance, see what they do. There are probably at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are above the drainage line, and the rest of them, if we look to the right here, Dav, are down inside this drainage area. So what I want to do is to just get into a position where we can look over the lip here. Now this is, interestingly, precisely where Karula had her first den, the one that Brent found. But she does definitely not have a den here anymore. So what we'll do, in fact, I'm in two minds as to where to go. Yeah, I think let's do that. Let's try and look over the lip, because I think they're all going to actually end up in the bottom of the drainage line at some stage. Let's see if we can get a nice view there. Charlotte, what a lovely question. While we try and get into position here, you say, what is the best advice I've ever got for being a guide, about being a guide? Charlotte, the best advice I ever had about being a guide was to not busk. Now, busking, for those of you who don't know, is when you tell pork pies. When somebody says, what bird is that? And you say, oh, well, it's a tawny eagle, of course, when you have no idea what it is. That, I've been told, or that I was told, is the first and best piece of advice I ever got, because people ain't thick, and while you might get away with it sometimes, so often people will find you out and you will look like a complete palooka. And so that was the best bit of guiding advice I ever got, Charlotte. And also, it's just, of course, there they are. You can obviously see them. Also, obviously, it's just disrespectful, of course, to tell pork pies to people, but it can be tempting, and I understand the temptation, because you can't know everything all the time. So to be able to say, I don't know, I will find out for you, and then actually do find out, is the best solution. And of course, these days now I just say, I don't know, can one of you tell me? And one of you normally can tell me, which is just marvelous. But of course, if you're guiding 6 guests who are on safari, you can't ask them, because they don't normally have all the information at their fingertips like the guests that we have, sometimes up to 3,000 at a time. 3 million during the course of a TV show. beautiful herd of elephants. Just kind of, they're in a bit of a defensive formation there. You can see them shielding the young calf. I don't think I know this herd necessarily, and they were definitely quite keen to get across the drainage away from us when we drove up the road, so they're not very comfortable. Not sure why that should be, other than maybe they've come out of the Kruger Park. We're still not far from the Kruger boundary. Oh, she's just instilling some discipline there. That's what that cow is doing. She's saying, get out of the way, and taking her calf down through there. Let's maybe try and move now. Hello, Cat in Tampa. You say the animals seem to be on edge today. I haven't really thought about it. And you want to know if it may be could it be the drought that's putting them on edge? Cat, it's not impossible. But that herd of buffalo is always like that. I don't know why they're always like that, but they always seem to be on edge. I mean, I can remember driving into the middle of a herd of buffalo, and my tracker, who was a very amusing fellow called Johnson Mkhansi, God rest his soul, hit one of them on the backside once. I mean, that's how close we used to get. They used to surround the vehicle completely. And I haven't had that again here. So that herd of buffalo is always kind of a little bit on edge. Karula's been on edge for the last little while. We don't really know why. It'll probably have something to do with her cubs, but even before she had cubs, she was just a lot more on edge than she has been before. And these elephants, yeah, drought, I think, would affect elephants in that way. They can certainly feel the drought. They don't like the drought. They're desperately in need of water. I think we're going to have to get one last view of them going through their dove, and then they're going to melt into the bush. There's a very big, thick block in there. So, Kat, I don't think that they're necessarily on edge too much. I think it's probably the fact that we've just coincidentally found the ones that are a little bit on edge. Me and Dave and I had a very nice sighting of an elephant bull. It was 2 mornings ago, Dave, where, he walked very closely behind us and didn't react to us at all. Very nice hyenas, of course. The hyenas are not in the slightest bit on edge. They came bounding out of the den to say hello to us. That was the most wonderful sighting as we drove in. It was like a pack of your pets coming heeded straight down the driveway to say hello to you. I felt tremendously honored by that sighting, I must say. There's one more elephant in here. We'll just have a look there. Now, this will be a young bull, a young teenager, not wanting to be around the rest of the herd because he's big and tough now, doesn't want to spend time with the kids, wants to show how big and strong he is. And he's eating some very winter meal there. You can see that's actually the first time this summer I've seen them eating bark. I've seen them eating lots of leaves, but that bark, when they're now chewing bark off a tree, is normally a sign that, we're in the middle of winter, middle of the dry season. He's also not comfortable with us, And Janice, yes, I think you're correct. You're saying, is there more movement during a drought? Absolutely, there's more movement during a drought. Janice, you're saying, will they be coming into this area from the Kruger as the drought wears on? Well, yes, I think they probably will in many respects because water is pumped in the Sabi sands. Hugely limiting factor for elephants is water. And so, yeah, we could well find ourselves inundated with these magnificent creatures as this drought wears on. There was a lot of talk that we might get a huge amount of rain during the course of February. At the end of February, we had one nice downpour in some of the reserve, not the whole of the reserve. Over to the southeast there, you'll find that there are still huge patches of grey, bare ground with no grass on it. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen, Dave. They're just going to come through this little gap here. I think it's 2 young bulls, one slightly older than the other. I'm not going to go in there after them, simply because I don't think that this herd is that relaxed, and those bulls might take exception and run off. So we're going to sit here and just see if they don't pop out of the bush there. In the meantime, let's head back to Scott and those wonderful animals, the hyena.
Just come across this young spotted hyena. And what a pleasant surprise. Well spotted to VM. We're just going to have to creep forward a little bit. Surprised that it's on the move now while it's so hot. Maybe it's looking to go and find a mud wallow, somewhere to cool off. Hyenas are the one predator that loves water in this area. They're very happy to roll around and play in the shallow puddles. And let's see where it's off to. What a bonus. Oh, no, it looks like it's going to be heading off into some thick bush. Now, I'd be surprised if any of you recognize this hyena because we are on the far western boundary of Arathusa and we don't spend too much time with the hyenas in this area, so I don't think it's one from the Juma clan, just a bit too far away. Now sadly it is heading off into some very thick bush and we can't follow it off-road. So I don't think we're going to get any more views sadly, so we are going to send you back to James and the elephants.
They've come a little bit closer, and there's one actually just, you can hear, macerating a Ziziphus bush. Yeah, there's another one there. I'm going to try and sneak forward. I think if we wait here for long enough, they'll just walk out in front of us, but that might take until 6 o'clock this evening. It's going to ease forward. Hello, don't panic, we just want to look. I think, God, let's just stop here to start with. There's this young bull coming through here. So this will just be a little group of young bulls, 2 of them. And as I say, just like teenage human beings wanting to assert their independence from the herd, he's trying to smell us now. Here we go, now he's relaxing a bit. Having a little bit of a feed on the red thorn tree. A very well-used red thorn tree. You can see there, I don't know if you noticed how he clamped it between his tusk and his trunk. And that, you can even see the groove that's formed on his tusk from where he does that often. You see that on his left tusk, to our right? You can see the groove on the end of that tusk. This is wonderful. This is just beautiful. He's only about 3 meters, 12 feet from us. And he's decided we're not so terrible after all, so he's going to continue feeding. Now, the red thorn that he's eating has the most delicious tasting gum. And I think that must transfer into the leaves. And it does mean, of course, that they get beaten up by the elephants because they taste so good. Look at that right up into his mouth. His tongue moving. His little beard. Darlene in New Hampshire, you are a wealth of good questions today, and one, of course, in which I'm going to have to take my own advice and not busk. You say the 2 closest relatives to the elephant family are the sea cow and the rock hyrax. Now, for those of you who don't know, a rock hyrax is like like Darlene says, it looks like a guinea pig. It isn't vaguely related to a guinea pig, though. It is in a family all of its own. Indeed, Darlene, it is in an order all of its own. Now, what that means is that although it might be genetically the most closely related animal to an elephant, it is still very distantly related. And that's crucial to understand. So I'm just going to watch him. Just let's be quiet and appreciate this, and Darlene, I'll get back to your question. Hello, fellow. He's a young bull, so he's just checking us out. He's not showing any kind of aggression. He's showing definite interest. Oh, it's wonderful. He's about 1.5 meters now, 6 feet from us. And that shaking of the leg is a demonstration of discomfort or awkwardness, just like you, if you're in a social situation, you fiddle with a button or a pocket or a handkerchief or a hem of your shirt. It's the same thing. This is too special. That, on the other hand, is not special at all. That was the sound of about 46 cubic decimeters of methane being expelled in our faces. Thank you, elephant. Thank you very much for that. Whew. It's been on the baked beans, Dave. Oh, you didn't like that, did you? Well, we didn't like what you just did. No. I didn't do that to you. No manners. No manners. It's your problem. Get my fat bonce out of the way. I'll just have you know that everybody in the final control is in hysterics because I said, let's be quiet and listen to the elephant. And then he, on cue, he's obviously quite a joker, that fellow. Ridiculous flipping animal. That's wonderful. And the timing of Spike Milligan. Okay, now what I want to show you here, Dave, this is going to be almost impossible to see, but let's just have a quick look here. There's no diagram. Darlene, in New Hampshire, the order Proboscidae, which has the proboscis mammals, that's the elephants, is an order on its own with only one family in it, and that family is the elephants. The order Hyracoideae, or Hyraxes, is another order. Now, an order, just to give you the kind of idea of the level of taxonomic group, the ruminants are all in an order together, the elephants are in an order together, the carnivores are in an order, all carnivores, from hyenas to cats to dogs to mongoose to honey badgers and civets and genets and all of them, they're in an order on their own. So although these two orders, the Hyraxes and the proboscis mammals, are technically the most closely related to each other, they are still eons apart. They are massively more distantly related than cats are to hyenas, or dogs are to hyenas, or mongoose are to hyenas, or bears are to hyenas. They are much more distantly related than we are to monkeys, than we are to bush babies. So I hope that kind of explains to you. It's so far back in prehistory that they are the most closely related, but they're still massively distantly related. Nice question. Thank you, Darlene. I'm going to move forward a little bit so we can have a look at Spike Milligan here, and perhaps it's Peter Sellers we have on the left. Now, Liberty Ann, you think it's quite amusing that I play with their dung from time to time, but I don't handle their arts. Well, Liberty Ann, it's just the manner in which it was delivered. I mean, I don't mind the thing expelling gas. We know we all have to do it from time to time, women excluded, of course. But when I say, listen to the wonders of the African wilderness, and the elephant then goes, I mean, it indicates a certain amount of disrespect, don't you think? Here we have the other one here. Now, we all have our pet hate word in the English language, and my worst word in the world is the word fart. I know that there is no other word really to use other than pass wind, which is just ridiculous. But that word for me, I can't handle it. Now, this is a great question. Elaine in Massachusetts, I also cringe when I see what they do with the thorns. You say, how on earth, basically, are they able to put those hard thorns into their mouths, over their tongues, rip them out with their trunks? How is that even possible? Elaine, they've got very, very thick skin, much, much thicker than you can even imagine. And so that's why it doesn't rip a hole in their trunks. And then their mouths, their tongues are the same, you know. It's got a very thick epiglottis, or not epiglottis, epidermis, which means a kind of an outer layer which will protect them against. Touched half of these bushes that they put in their mouths, and I've injured myself severely. If you go for a walk in the bush out here, you come home with holes in your legs. You know, he's behaving exactly like Spike Milligan was just now. He's walking past with a kind of, I'm interested, but I'm not that comfortable. Hello, fella. He's even less comfortable. Pamela, yes, brilliant questions. We watch them disappear there. Or I can just sneak forward. They might have a little bit of a fight. Pamela, you want to know if there are any plants that an elephant might eat that is like candy or like sweets? Yes, absolutely, the marula fruit. When the marula fruit pops out during February and, January sometimes, marula fruit is exactly like candy or ice cream for an elephant. They go mad for good fruit out here, and it only lasts them for about a month, 2 or 3 weeks to a month, and then they're back onto the dry old leaves and bark and the odd pod, if they're lucky, some acacia gum, and eat and eat and eat they must in order to maintain that enormous bulk. It was interesting, when they met up here, you didn't see it, I don't think, but the one on the left put his trunk into the one on the right's mouth. And that's a common kind of greeting that they would give to each other. They haven't just seen each other. So I suspect it's almost like a seeking comfort. One of them just saying, you know, we're okay, are we okay, kind of thing. And shall we carry on after the herd, or shall we feed here a bit longer and then move on with the herd? I think it was just kind of reaffirming a social bond there. It's like you walking up to somebody in a crowded room of strangers who you've just been separated from, and then you come back from the table, I don't know, fetching a drink or something, and you put your hand on their shoulders as if to say, you know, I'm here, how's it going? And what they're doing now is the herd has moved off to basically straight over the top of their heads, and although we can't hear them anymore, they will be able to hear the infrasonic rumbles, the calls of the matriarch. And when she decides, if she decides that it's time to go for a drink, perhaps at Buffelshoek Dam, we'll go and have a look there just now. Brent said there was a herd of buffalo over there. We might pop across there just now. But when she gives that command, they will rejoin the herd. They'll move quite quickly down to the back of the herd and move up with them. They're just about at independence age. They're just about to sort of leave. All right, everybody, we're going to leave these elephants. They're going to disappear down into the drainage now. Scott is going to stand by and give you an update from him, and I believe that YouTube is now all over Twitter. Do you like the way I combine social media there, David? It's because I'm so savvy of the social media space. It's all of a Flutter or a Twitter with the speaking of different anagrams, or not anagrams, synonyms for that dreadful word that I can no longer bring myself to say while we're live. back across to Scott. We're going to head to Buffelshoek Dam and see what we can find there.
Well, I am sad that I wasn't on the vehicle when that perfect coincidence and timing unfolded. Sounds like one of the greatest moments Safari Live's ever witnessed. And who would have thought? Spielberg couldn't have scripted anything better than that. So that was a good example of James being in sync with the animals. I haven't been in sync with Nkuhuma Pride, no sign of them yet. Not too sure where they're hiding. The guys had their tracks somewhere in this area this morning, but someone is in trouble because one of the guides drove over the tracks without seeing them, and that made it very difficult for the guys to try and work out where they had gone. So I got the radio message from some frustrated guides who were left with the hard work. Anyway, there's a few more guys in this area. Maybe they will get lucky, or maybe we will. Time will tell. Hello, Janice, and a very young 3-year-old called Carter. And you're in New Jersey. I hope all is well there. You'd like to know if I've ever seen a white lion. Yes, I have. On one lucky morning in the Timbavati Reserve, which is not too far away from here at all. And there are currently, I believe, I stand to be corrected, 3 white lions that are alive in the wild, not captive. And 2 of which are in the Timbavati Reserve. They're a part of a pride called the Giraffe Pride. And there was a red-billed buffalo that was carrying a little feather as nesting material, but it seemed to have dropped it as it flew off. There's also a long-tailed shrike in and amongst them. Anyway, the birds can often be tricky for us. So there's 2 lionesses in that pride, the Giraffe Pride, of which I was lucky enough to see 1. And there's also a young male, I think he's about 1.5 years of age now, in the Nwanetsi concession, which is in the Greater Kruger National Park, east of one of the main rest camps, which is called Satara. So he's looking like he could be the next hope for a big male lion in the wild. I think the last one was documented something like 17 or 18 years ago. So they are very rare in the wild. They are easy to breed in captivity, but for the gene to occur naturally in the wild, it requires a lot more luck. Oh, the zebra that just crossed the road. We can see you. You cannot hide behind that bush, not with your black and white coloration. Let's continue on. That looks like it could be a stallion, possibly following up behind his ladies. Let's go and take a closer look. Sarah in Ohio, I couldn't agree with you anymore. You say now that Karula's got cubs, it's time for the Nkuhuma ladies to start getting busy in that department as well. And won't that be awesome? Imagine leopard cubs and lion cubs at the same time. And to be honest, I'm sure it's going to happen soon. I think in the next few months, we're going to see those Nkuhuma ladies with a few new additions. So exciting prospects. And I like the way you're thinking, Sarah. Who knows, maybe even Shadow will have some cubs. Oh, well done, Viam. Hello, you. Oh, what you nibbling on? Hey? Some leftovers of a marula nut you're cleaning out of your teeth there. Hey? Ah, itchy ear. Whew, I wish I could scratch my ear as quickly as you can, so I can fast forward. I think it may be taking a toilet break there. Can't be certain though, but it looks like it's concentrating on something. Oops. Imagine being able to move as quickly as they can. This is a very, very thorny buffalo thorn tree that would usually snag up most animals, but this very agile and nimble little tree squirrel is having no trouble in there. We'll leave it be now that it's disappeared behind a few bushes. Hello, Matty, and I'm sad to hear that it's our last drive together. I thought we'd be able to go and drive tomorrow together, but we can't, and we have had lots of drives together already, so I guess we can't be greedy, but I am sad that this is the last one. I wasn't ready for that news. But I hope you enjoy it, Maddie, and because it is our last drive, you can let me know where exactly you want to go. So if you want to go anywhere, so, if there's anywhere you want to go, you must just let me know, Maddie, and we will go right there. Okay, Rusty Pipes, you would like to know how long will it take before a leopardess is likely to take meat back to her cubs? And in my history, Rusty Pipes, I've actually seen that they'd rather move the cubs to the kill rather than the kill to the cubs, unless it's something very small, like a cane rat. I think I've seen some tracks up ahead, yeah? Unless it's something small, like a cane rat, or a tiny little monkey, they'd be likely to actually leave the kill up in a tree and go and collect the cubs and move them back to the kill. And that usually happens anywhere from about 3 months of age. I was dreaming. Zebra tracks have the funny ability of being able to kind of look like a paw print. I don't know what it is. I guess it's just that general horseshoe shape. So yeah, Rusty Pipes, I think, what's it, probably been over a month now. Those cubs are probably over a month old. I've lost track of when the first confirmed sighting of them was. So, in the next 2 weeks, I think there's a strong chance we'll see these little cubs, or you'll get to see these little cubs. And anywhere from 2 months to 3 months Definitely around 3 months, you'll start seeing those cubs getting taken from kill to kill. And then it becomes very easy, well, a lot easier to find leopard because by that age they'll be walking alongside her. They won't be getting carried in her mouth. So there's going to be multiple sets of tracks to follow, not just of hers. Maybe she's got 2 or 3 cubs if we're lucky. And because she will often make a kill, like this impala kill she's made today, and need to travel with it before heading back to the cubs to collect them, then travel back with the cubs to the kill. There's going to be lots of sets of tracks all into one area. Off goes some impala. Not hanging around. I think this windy weather this afternoon is making a lot of the prey animals a little bit nervous. Well, I know James often takes a wrong turn up in this part of the world, and I think I may have as well. No, I haven't. Let me just double check though. Thankfully we can cheat. No, we're good. We are still legal. We are not trespassing at the moment. Hi, R. Beard. You would like to know whether or not I think the fact that it's becoming easier for predators to acquire their own prey, will it mean that hyena and lion will be less inclined to try and steal from leopard? And no, not really. I don't think that is the case. I mean, most of the time they're stealing from leopard is opportunistic. Not maybe not so much with hyena, but they're still going to stick to the easiest possible method. And if it's easier for, in this area they've become used to following leopard and stealing from leopard more than hunting. At least that's what we've seen. So they're going to continue to do that. They aren't necessarily going to try and adopt hunting now. They're just going to steal more easy kills. Let's have a look here, VM. 10 o'clock. Oh. Cheeky little step buzzard who slunk off through the thick bush. Well done though, VM. So I don't think so. I think that they're going to hear the commotion. When a leopard catches an impala, the whole herd will alarm call like crazy. Not like just when they've seen a leopard. When one of their own is caught, it's a very different alarm call. And hyena and lion, when they hear that call, just like us as humans, we know that there's something with a kill they're guaranteed. They're going to go and try and steal it because it's easy. So, regardless of how full they are, they're going to continue to want to still steal and take shortcuts. Okay, we've got somebody behind us, so we're just going to let them scoot on past. Appears like they may be in a little bit more of a rush than we are. Hello. How are you doing?
Good.
Very good.
Where's all the animals?
We are filming a live safari. Would you believe it?
Wow.
So when you go home, you can join in and watch. Yes. We've got 2 vehicles out there. The other vehicle's having more luck than I am. I think people are feeling sorry for me now. That's why all the viewers are on us at the moment. Good. Well, good luck out there. And be sure to tune in.
What's the station?
SafariLive.com, or if you just Google Live Safari,
Cool, got it.
you'll find us. And that way you can get to go and drive around Arethusa when you're not even here. Okay. Thank you. Good luck. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, Shon is landering was not passing in Gonyam.
Okay.
Yeah, the Kabanga maybe the Bamba here that can Buga Makoti in Escoba.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, but 3 stations. searching.
Okay. Well, we can leave them, and when they've done the hard work, we'll come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they said no, they need 3 vehicles.
Okay.
So I want to shoot to the east.
Okay.
Then I'll come back and see if we're going to be lucky.
Okay.
All right.
Good. Enjoy your trip. Good luck out there. Bye-bye.
Did you book and Tampi Nyaris Lanzagula?
No, but it's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sharp.
Cancelling off. Oh, that was a very friendly guy who I've never met before, but he's working for Arethusa now. It's difficult for VM to show you him because we would have captured all of those other unsuspecting guests. Apologies for that. We don't get to bump into people very often on the road out here, so when you do, you tend to make a bit of a scene about it, long chats. He was just letting me know about what's going on and who's following up on the lion and whether I saw the buffalo back there, which I didn't. Shame. So the vehicle that James is on arrived back from a seriously long stay at the health spa where it was getting lots of treatment and attention, and now the engine and everything mechanically with the car is working very well, but it's taking a little bit of time to get all of our equipment back in there and synchronized and working as it should be. So basically, James is battling to find signal on quite a few parts of Djuma. So that is why you've been stuck with me. It's not because it's Nikki's last drive and she's trying to give me as much airtime as possible. Hello, Impalas. Oh, there's quite a small youngster in and amongst there. Hello to Mary in Michigan, who would like to know, well, firstly has stated that so many of the viewers have learnt from me and I guess from the other presenters over the last year or so. But what have I learned from the viewers? Well, sure, there's a long list of things that you guys have helped me with and corrected me with over the months and years. So I guess, you know, that and the ability to build on things and get to know one another and have individuals that, you know, love the birds and the other individuals that love the cats, even if they're fast asleep, which is something that for me is quite difficult to stay with. So I guess patience is one thing I may have learned. I haven't mastered the arts of patience, but some of you have helped me to keep more patience, staying with the sleepy predators, which is not one of my strengths. And yeah, I mean, countless things on this live safari experience have grown and built me as a guide, and I look forward to possibly taking some regular guests around and seeing what that is like after being with you guys who are seriously seasoned safari goers in relation to a lot of the guests that you would deal with on a typical safari. It's usually first or second timers, whereas the majority of you guys are way, way beyond that. So the level of guiding that we can go into is considerably deeper, I feel, than on your kind of average regular guiding that the guys are doing at the camps here. Most people only come to Africa once. Obviously, you get a few repeat guests. And like I said, obviously, you guys are the repeat guests that we get to take out day in and day out. And that's made for some wonderful experiences and things to learn for both of us, I think. Keith, and apologies for the little bit of confusion there. Some of you are now thinking that today is my last drive. It's not my last drive, it's simply Matty's last drive. He sadly isn't going to be able to join us tomorrow. So tomorrow night we will be doing my last drive and the fireside chats. So don't worry, the plans haven't changed. Just sadly for my good friend Matty, he is not going to be able to join us. Another thing that's exciting to look forward to for tomorrow's drive is not only the fireside chat, but leading up to that, Nikki and I are going to be teamed up together. And I'm going to be in the driver's seat for, I guess, the majority of the drive, but we'll see how it goes. And Nikki is going to have a few moments up front with me behind the camera, so you guys can chat with her and ask her some questions. So start thinking about what it is that you want to know from Nicola Austin, because she is going to be sitting where I am. So that's going to be quite fun, but we are going to be chopping and changing, and we'll just see how the afternoon goes. But really looking forward to that. And for those of you who may have tuned in recently, it is Nikki's last afternoon in the final control room. So she'll be enjoying the whole day out tomorrow, but obviously she is sad to be doing her last drive for the time being. Well, I'm thinking about maybe popping into the hyena den. I think it's a good stage of the evening to do that. I did pop in briefly this morning, but it wasn't hugely active. One adult limped off as we arrived, and then shortly after that, a sub-adult moved away. But we did go quite late in the morning, so I'm hoping that this afternoon we'll be a little bit more fortunate. We should be at the hyena den in the next 5 or 10 minutes, depending on what we bump into along the way. But we are going to be sending you back to James, who has found some signal for the time being, so why don't you go and see what he's been up to.
Sorry about that, everybody. We were driving along madly trying to get it back within signal range. Completely normal, I suppose. I mean, Wendy's guts were ripped out, basically, and we had to put them all back in again. Well, I say. Viam and Eugene had to do that. And so what it means is that basically everything has to be reconfigured. And so that's why we are unable to get any signal from most of the reserve at the moment. We were at Bivelshoek Dam. We saw one elephant there and one blacksmith lapwing, so you didn't miss anything there. And we're now on Gallagher shortcut. We'll go down towards the watering hole here and see what we can find. Oh, these drongos are chasing a little raptor. There's a little raptor just flew in here. I can't see it. It looked like a little sparrowhawk. There it goes. There. It's dived down to catch something. You see it go, Dave? Watch the drongos. They're the ones who'll tell us where he's gone. Oh. Looks like a little sparrowhawk, everyone. Nah, he's gone away. I'll show you a picture. But let me just get a little bit further, maybe in this next tree. Just the radio quickly.
I don't know, maybe.
1 second. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. So a little sparrowhawk or something. Let me have a look here.
But she's right inside the drainage line. When it closed, we must manage to walk there.
Okay, the reason I'm listening to the radio with such intentness is for a very special reason, and I just want to make sure that I have heard correctly. Taxon has seen Karula's cub, which is marvelous. Very healthy, but in the drainage line there, so we're going to probably zone that area for the rest of the time till we can all meet tomorrow and decide what we're going to do. Now the cub, of course, is now, Brent saw it about 5 weeks ago, so let's put that at day 1, pretend it was the day she was born, so probably looking at 5 to 6 weeks old, so not long before we'll be able to have a look, but I would say we're probably going to leave it another week or so, maybe 2 weeks. Very exciting stuff, hey? Great. Okay, I just want to quickly show you the picture of the little sparrowhawk that I saw chasing some poor little bird. There's a very small raptor. Let me just find him for you. There, a little sparrowhawk. Or, no, in fact, I don't think it was. I think it was a shikra, little banded goshawk. And the reason I say that is because there's no white mark there on the base. So flipped up and over the tree, looked like it was chasing a testicle or something. It all scattered. All the drongos went ballistic and tried to kind of frighten it away, which I think they succeeded in doing. And that's what we had. I don't know if you saw it or not. David, did you see it?
For a moment, yeah.
For a moment. Well, that's better than nothing, I suppose. Very difficult to follow a bird, almost impossible with a camera. It's difficult enough with an eye. Right. On we go. Sorry, everybody, we keep losing you. I really don't know what else to say other than we're going to drive as close to the mast where we know the signal is good as we can. That will hopefully make things a little easier as we go. I'm glad you're all pleased about the cub. It should be great. Let's not hope too much up, but certainly at least we know that it is alive. So that's good. We don't know how many there are. We've only seen one. I suspect probably only one. Just get into some slightly better signal area here. This cub, assuming that it will be zoned. Cub is now only 5.5 to 6 weeks old. Let's go across to Scott until I'm in a better signal area, everyone. Go ahead, Bernie.
Welcome back, everyone. I was just turning down the game drive comms there because there's an excitement of chatter regarding Karula and her cub! Isn't that awesome news? Oh, no, everyone would love desperately to see exactly what this little critter looks like, but you're just going to have to be patient, because for now, it seems like that cub is a little bit too young still, and we're going to leave it in peace for the time being. I just thought I'd quickly pop in here to Sydney's waterhole, see what's going on, and doesn't appear to be a whole deal going on at first glance. There's some Egyptian geese waddling on down towards those waterbucks straight in front of you. Now, what's interesting here is there's one adult female waterbuck with 2 baby waterbuck. And twins do occur in nature, but very, very seldomly. So I wonder if that's a twin, possibly it's an orphaned calf, or possibly there's just another waterbuck nearby, and we just can't see it. Well, we may never know the answer to that puzzle, but you guess you can choose. You can either say that they are twins, or one's been orphaned, or one's mother's simply around the other corner where we can't see it. So those are the 3 options. We'll never be able to ask them, sadly, what's going on. I wonder how much longer that body of water is going to last. I guess it all depends on when the next rains are going to come. So both of those questions, I guess, go hand in hand. But interesting times lie ahead. And even though the drought is very harsh for certain animals, it does make it easier, make life easier for certain animals like the carnivores. And it's something very, very lucky that all of you are going to be able to get to witness over the coming months. The last drought was in 2002. I've never experienced one, and now I'm leaving midway through, so I too am going to have to try and keep on joining into the live safaris from elsewhere. If not at least the highlights. Yeah, Raisa, don't you worry. Nikki and I are both kicking ourselves for leaving as soon as Karula has a cub. To be in the Sabi Sands for as long as we have and not see leopard cubs must be some kind of a record. I think I'm the only person that's worked here this long and not seen a leopard cub in my time here. So don't worry, that is a little salt in the wounds. And Raisa and Nikki does say a very big thank you for all the help that you gave her in becoming, just like you, a leopard identification expert. Which you are certainly. And for those new viewers out there, you too can become an expert at distinguishing between who's who. And once you look at enough leopards closely enough, you can start to tell them apart, just like we can look at a human and say, well, that's Bob, and that's Sharon, and that's Susie. You can really start to pick up an eye for picking up distinguishing features. I'm nowhere near that, but you are, and I know Nikki is. So she does express her gratitude for your help in that department. Okay, we're nearly at the turnoff for Albury's Road. And then should be there in a couple of minutes. Let's hope it's active. We'll call you back to check once we get there. But for now, back to James in better signal.
Now we'll hope that we have some more stable signal. We're on quarantine. We might find ourselves just doing laps in this area for the next little while. But let's see what we can find. Perhaps a mongoose troop. We're very, very ill-disciplined today. I did manage to find one and get one decent shot of a mongoose looking at the camera lens like that before it disappeared off to have its feed for the day.
Benny, come.
And I'm so pleased.
Here,
I'm
Did
so
you come all
pleased,
right?
Debbie, that you enjoyed my little mongoose video that we made today. And you say, what language was it that I was speaking? Debbie, it was Shingan, as you say, and all I was saying was variations of the word for mongoose. Dwarf mongoose, which is matsigito. So I was just kind of saying that fast and slow in the soundtrack, and it's got a nice rhythmical onomatopoeic word, and so it worked quite nicely. Well, I think it did. Art, of course, is entirely subjective. Massive herd of impala here. Stunning. Hello, Rusty Pipe. Rusty Pipe, you and I are going to have some conflict, I can tell. You say, leopard cub check, crocodile check, lone wild dog, referring to a sighting I had the other day, and you notice I didn't say suspected sighting there, I said actual sighting of a lone wild dog on Buffelshoek Cut Line. At about 200 meters, I then descended below the lip of the ridge, came up the other side, and the wild dog had been replaced by 2 hyenas. Now, I know, Rusty Pipe, that many of you out there will be thinking that fellow there was busking there. He thought he saw a wild dog. Actually, it was a hyena. And Rusty Pipe, I tell you, to this day, to my dying day, I shall be convinced that there was a wild dog there that was chased away by those 2 hyenas that were looking, funnily enough, precisely in the same way I was, looking up and down, seeing if they could find the wild dog. Rusty Pipe. Rusty Thomas is what I shall call you. Beautiful herd of impala. And interestingly there, and I've said this before, but it is interesting that the silver cluster-leaf trees amongst which they are grazing are kind of taking over this clearing now. Now, that is a pretty normal situation because in a time of drought, remember, those trees have got very deep roots and they can go down and get a bit more moisture. And the grass, of course, which would compete with trees of that height, cannot get any water because they have roots in the top of the soil surface. And therefore, in a drought situation like this, you will sometimes find that there is a thickening of the bush, simply because the trees and their saplings have an easier time getting to the water. Hello, Alice. You're in Ohio and you wanted to know if anyone has seen Nelson, the one-horned impala of late. Nelson, so named, of course, because he not only did he have one horn, he had one eye, like the grand old admiral of the Battle of Trafalgar. And we haven't seen him for a while, Alice. I haven't. We had a suspected sighting of him the other day, but then I'm not convinced that it wasn't me who saw him. And so, Alice, I fear me Lord Nelson has kicked his clogs, as it were. Right, Scott has gone to my, probably favourite place on the reserve, and he's having some action there. Let's go to the den.
Well, we are in luck. And look at this. We've got a couple of youngsters coming to say hello to us. Hello, you two. Are you coming to get some pieces of wood to nibble on with those little razor-sharp teeth of yours? Yeah, it looks like it. They are such cute little youngsters. Not that many of the youngsters out here aren't cute, but there's something about these hyena that is just absolutely adorable. And this one's coming right up to the vehicle here. Hey, you. No, you cannot chew on the tire. No, you can't. That one's just walked straight under the vehicle, but we're going to leave it be. Looks like Pretty's coming to say hello as well. One of the mothers. Appears like 2 out of the 3 mothers are here. I think that's Pretty and Corky. Is the other one over there. With that big notch out of her left ear. Not as pretty, that's for certain. She looks quite uncomfortable in this heat. Beautiful afternoon sunlight on her. And I'd love to know where the adults rest up during the day. Probably not too far from here. Oh, looks like those 2 youngsters are getting excited with one another. And they appear to be doing some anal pasting on that little blade of grass there. They're each taking turns in doing it. And the smallest one there has got a small little white tuft on its back left foot, and that indicates that it is December 1. Oh no, my bad. The bigger one is December 1. I don't know who's who here. The younger one's obviously January. Just heard some great news over the radio waves. There's not 1, but 2 cubs with Karula. Can you believe it? Even that little cub looks excited with the news. Yes, Karula's got 2 cubs. Can you believe it? Good news for you in your future, because you'll probably be able to steal some food from them, won't you, when you grow up? Uh-huh. Look at that cub. It's got the mad sprints. I don't think it's just finished yet. I think it's just warming up. Let's keep an eye on this one. This one's got a point to prove. Let's keep an eye on it. What are you going to do next? Can you hear another one of the adults is vocalizing? Sadly, we can't see exactly what's going on up there. But that's the one that's vocalizing, the one that I thought was pretty. It could be another one. Oh, hang on. Oh, that is the alpha female. Look at that. Look at all the dust. Whew. And her very full belly. So, who knows what's going on here? Maybe they're still working out what's what, whose room's who in the new hyena den. This female on the right wasn't looking in the best of shape. She doesn't look comfortable. Look at how she's licking her forelegs to try and cool herself down. She's even been licking her own face to try and keep cool. And that evaporation from those wet legs will aid in that cooling. She looks like she's just not in the happiest of places. What I think we should do now is quickly reposition and maybe go around onto the other side of the mound, and then we can kind of see what's going on with that alpha female. I think we will have a better view into that little burrow from there. So we're going to link to James while we maneuver around there, and we'll see you on the other side. Goodbye.
We've hit a stroke of luck here, people. There are giraffe and zebra everywhere I look. There we go. Beautifully lit, backlit by the setting sun. If we pan to the right, Dave, we'll see the great swathe and plethora of animals that we have here. Now, update everybody is that there are 2 Karula cubs. That's quite nice news, isn't it? I'm not sure when we're going to go in and have a look at them. It definitely won't be today, but there are 2 Karula cubs. Very exciting stuff indeed. Bottoms of zebras, of course. They, of course, are very good at doing that thing that I can't speak of. They do that quite a lot. I'm just going to sneak forward. We've got some really nice giraffe action going on in front of us. Look at the golden light catching the zebras. Marvellous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 giraffe. Impala everywhere. Oh, there's even, let's just have a quick look there. There's an impala and there's a buffalo. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different mammal species in one spot. Heavens, where was all of this lot for the last 4 days? That's great. There he is. We'll just go a little bit forward. I was always amazed, of course, and I've said this before, but people will come on safari and they say, well, you know, we want to see the big 5. And you say, well, don't you want to see giraffe? And then, and they say, well, isn't that part of the big 5? And the answer is no, it isn't, but a buffalo is. And I'm afraid I struggle to see how a buffalo could possibly compare in magnificence with a giraffe like that. Gorgeous redhead female giraffe. And I say redhead because of the sort of chestnut tinge to her markings. That's quite unusual. But, I mean, giraffes do show a lot of variation in their colours. Males tending to the darker, females tending to the light. But I've seen females with almost black markings on them before, and males, likewise, with very pale markings. Hear the wind blowing gently across the plains. Oh, it's a wonderful atmosphere this evening. Oxpecker just landed for some ticks for dinner before it heads up to its tree hole to snooze in. And just sneak a little bit further forward and see if we can't get the rest of them. There's a darkish male, Dave. Let's maybe just get a look at him there. There we go. Interesting. Lael, very nice question about zoos, and do we have any here, given the abundance of game reserve areas that we have? Lael, we do have zoos here. There are a couple of very famous ones. The Johannesburg Zoo does some amazing work, as does the Pretoria Zoo. Certainly used to. I haven't heard much about the Pretoria Zoo of late. And I mean, I know zoos can be controversial places, but I'm afraid I'm of the opinion that they are, first of all, a last resort reservoir of genetic material for threatened animals. So from that respect, I don't have a problem with them. In principle, obviously, the way you do it is enormously important. And they are also, of course, enormously important for showing people who will never get into places like this the animals and creatures of the wild. And without that, it becomes almost impossible to connect an urban person with the wilderness. And unless an urban person feels some sort of connection with the wild, then conservation efforts, I'm afraid, are going to be in vain. So while it might be difficult sometimes to see some animals in zoos, I'm afraid I think they play an extremely important role. And Maurice, while you're asking, sorry Dave, can you just come back to the female? And there's a buffalo standing right next to her, and she's watching him. Isn't that cool? Isn't that so cool? I've lost my train of thought completely. We had a question about claw marks on the bottom, and that was from Maurice. And you want to know about where these claw marks come. Dave, quickly, sorry, just across here to the mail. He's coming across now. Maurice, you want to know if any of them have lion claw marks on them? They don't, actually. It's quite interesting. Giraffe tend to be killed by specialists. So you do get specialist prides that will kill giraffe. But in this area, I mean, the Nkuhumas, who provide the bulk of our lion viewing, are pretty avid buffalo hunters. Well, they were while they had a male with them. I think they'll probably be doing a lot more kudu and waterbuck and that sort of thing hunting. But they did kill a buffalo not too long ago, and they killed a zebra. But I think a big giraffe would be a little bit too much for them at the moment. They don't seem to specialize in it, although I know they have killed giraffe before. Right, let's go back to the den. Scott's repositioned, and he's got some more interesting stuff to show you.
Look at how cute this scene is. Ooh. This youngster, this one that slunk off here, got a big fright. I'm not sure why. It's chewing on a bone. I don't know if a shard of bone went in. Or this tiny young cub over there gave it a little nip and gave it a fright. But something caused it to get excited. And interestingly, even though that cub is much smaller than the one that ran off, hierarchy plays a huge role in these animals' lives. So, sure. It was an unexpected bout of excitement that essentially ruined the moment of mother and cub that we were enjoying. That little moment of tranquility and cuteness there. Oh. You need to be careful. The matriarch's getting a little bit cautious there of all these individuals coming up and greeting. Look at this. All the youngsters coming to say hello. I love the audio they make. Such interesting noises coming from them. Look at how cute that is. Can you believe it? Putting on a real spectacle for us here. And I think there's going to be continued excitements and audio around this den. There's some speculation as to whether or not they may have excavated further, judging from all the fresh white soil that is lying at the base of this tunnel. I think that's a very good observation. I didn't notice a major difference from when I was here earlier this morning, but then again, maybe I wasn't looking very closely. Look at them all piling up here. Oh, I really wish they would let off one of their full whoops. Oh, it looks like the alpha's going to have to discipline this one if it gets any more cheeky. I think she's going to go ahead and do it anyway. Even that other youngster, she's not tolerating playing with her own. They are getting royal treatment from their mother. fascinating how that we as humans try to raise. She had had enough. Enough of what? I don't know. That other individual wasn't being rough, was only being playful with the other youngsters. But the matriarch clearly didn't like that imposter. Was this the same one that's just been chased off, that's immediately come back? I don't know, possibly. Hello, Brian, in Philadelphia. You would like to know the gestation of a hyena, and I've actually forgotten, but I would be confident in guessing that it's going to be very, very similar to that of a lion and a leopard. I'm going to say it's around 90 to 100 days. But I'm sure somebody's going to double check me, so as soon as the first person has double checked that, please let us know. Good to know you're watching, Brian. Okay, so 110 days, it's already been confirmed. So there we go. And the big cats are also in that general ballpark. Hello, Gilly in Milwaukee. You'd like to know what causes the hyenas to lose their hair as they become older? Increased amounts of hormones, possibly. I'm not too certain. Maybe it's just wear and tear and a rugged lifestyle that causes their hairs to become fewer and fewer as they get older. Well, Brian in Philadelphia, thank you very, very much for the kind words that you sent through. And it was wonderful to meet you when you were out here. I'm very glad I did. And be sure to let us know when you are coming out on your next safari. And who knows, maybe Nikki and I will be able to pop in for a visit then as well. Hi, Alice in Ohio, and you are wondering whether or not these young hyena will ever nibble on insects that they find whilst chewing on branches in and around the den. I guess possibly. I've never seen one do it, so I cannot confirm that it does happen, but it certainly is a possibility. I think the inquisitive nature, when they're running about, if the grasshopper gets their attention, I think it could well get consumed. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think some of them are going to start heading off now. But let's give it a moment. I did see one slinking off a moment ago. There was a little anal pasting there on another little blade of grass, you may have noticed. Kathy, you would like to know if this alpha female, the one that's lying down, is pregnant again. I don't think it's possible for her to be. I think she's pregnant with tasty food. So she's just had a successful night out last night, and that's why her belly is protruding so much. I don't think it's physically possible for her to be pregnant again so soon after giving birth. Her cubs are probably only 1.5 months to 2 months of age at the most. Raisa, you're right. It is fascinating how a young hyena will become so involved in anal pasting. Even their sexual organs seem to work extremely well from the get-go. So, fascinating, you're right. And they are getting involved in very adult-like procedures from an extremely young age, whereas I certainly haven't noticed the same with the cats, with lion or leopard, which again is a plus for the hyena. The youngsters are very well trained, as we've seen. Good. James is still with the giraffe. We're going to send you across there for a quick update on how that sighting's coming along.
We haven't moved, everyone. Well, we've come a few feet forward, and we're just having a look at these giraffe. A big bull there, dark in colour, and then his red-head consort just behind him, eating from the boughs, interestingly enough, of what is called Dicostachys cinerea, or the sickle bush, and it is not known anywhere with great affection, simply because it is an encroacher species if left unattended by, for example, elephants and giraffes. So in the community grazing lands outside here, where there's been sort of fairly large-scale overgrazing over the many years, that species of plant is everywhere, and it grows over grassland and overtakes all of the grasses. But the giraffe and elephants enjoy it, and so where they live, it stays under control. Just a most perfect evening. Lovely breeze blowing through. You've had some incredible times with those hyenas, no doubt. They are the most special animals, aren't they? Just enjoying a pleasant evening meal. Big, long grey tongue. Which, of course, is covered in a very carefully, well, not carefully, but cleverly designed epidermis, which, of course, we had to question about the elephants and how they managed to eat such thorny, hard stuff. And we now have a giraffe doing the same thing. And also, apparently, if you feel a giraffe's tongue, it's actually quite soft. But I think what you'll find is that the top of the tongue is replaced quite often. That dermal layer is probably replaced again and again, because there's no ways that it could eat the kind of food that it does with a very soft tongue and not do itself a serious injury. I just love always the eastern sky at night. I know the sunset is the most popular thing to look at, but you see how the inkiness of the night is creeping up out of the east, and I've always loved that. I remember noticing it once on a train trip down to Cape Town and seeing the ink of the sky coming up and always being fascinated by it. Some alarming birds ahead. Let's just go a little bit forward and see if we can't see anything there. Sounds like those magpie shrikes going quack, 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 quack. know they did have a nest around here, sort of in the early springtime. There it is. It is a youngster. It's the young one there. You can see it there.
Yep.
There are a few of them. And I know it's a youngster because its tail is short. There are a few of them up in this scraggly leadwood tree. There we are, flying off. And I used to think this was an alarm call, but I'm coming to suspect it's maybe just a kind of, it's probably the same call they make when their parents are when they want their parents to feed them. And of course their parents are past feeding them now. They're probably just sort of seeking out some kind of, some evening meal, which they're not going to get anymore, of course. Hello, Blake Gardella on YouTube. Thank you very much for the compliment. You say that this looks pre-recorded. Well, I mean, I'm so pleased that our live production is of such an amazing quality that you feel it is pre-recorded. Blake, you have been classified with the Thomases. We are live. We are absolutely live. And I know, like I say, that it might seem, given the great swathe of amazing animals that we're seeing, the amazing vistas of the African wilderness, that this couldn't possibly be live. But Blake, how on earth would I be speaking with you now if, but for some magical trickery, we weren't live? Live we are, everyone. Straight out of the northeastern corner of South Africa, the great Kruger National Park, an iconic national park in the world. Live and in high definition, no less. There is a zebra. Blake, I didn't know that zebra was there. I've just spotted it. I promise. Now, of course, Scott had an inkling, of course, that there was a hyena at the den because we know that they lived there for most of the time. And so let's get back to him with the den. Blake, watch out for those live hyenas.
Sorry, Blake, was James taking that a bit too far? Don't worry, I also wouldn't believe if somebody told me this operation was live. So that's the good news, is that I can definitely relate with you. Look at this action. You came on safari on a good day, Blake, and I'm very happy that you are here with us. Oh, we still good?
Yep.
I just lost picture on my monitor, but it was just a cable. I thought we may have lost feed completely. Hello, you. Have you been enjoying Mummy's milk? You are heir to the throne, you lucky thing. Well, either you or you or your brother or sister. I can't tell who's who yet, but it is one of two siblings. We are incredibly lucky to have this hyena den and incredibly grateful to James for funding it. Okay, off you go. There's a birth.
Can you tell me when you can see?
Right.
Everybody, there's a zebra giving birth there. There's a zebra giving birth. This is a zebra giving birth. Oh my God, look at that. There's it comes, it's coming out. Look at that little zebra about to be born. There's the head. Oh, you clever mare, well done. It's born, everyone, it's born and it's alive and it looks fine. I'm going to try and reverse just a little bit, but unfortunately there's a bush behind me. I just don't want to disturb them too much. Look at that. Oh, you clever girl, well done. Oh, this is just too magnificent for words. I've never seen this. In 10 years, I've never seen a live birth before. Get up, you clever thing, come on. That's the amniotic sac you can see there, still inside her. I drove straight past the zebra, and Dave said to me, well, hang on, what's that? And this little thing was sticking out of her. it's packaged in a special blue bag. Coughing out there, breathing perfectly. This is just epic, everybody. This is just epic. I'd like to move a bit more, but I can't. I'm afraid I've backed right into a leadwood tree. Let's just watch carefully. Let's watch. Mother is cleaning the little one a little bit. Look. He's going to try and stand up. Oh, this is just too wonderful. Look at breathing there. You can see it breathing in the last embers of the light. You can see it breathing. Come on, get all the way out there. Come on. That's it. That's it. How that enormous thing came out of that poor mother. Oh, my goodness. There. That's it. That's it. All the way out. I think it's out now. And the reason I don't want to move is because I think she will then try and get up. As we went past, she did kind of stand and then lay down again. So I could do a little loop around and just get a better view, but I'm afraid for now we're going to stay right where we are, see what she does. Now she will be sore, of course, obviously, giving birth to something that size, but remember, for these animals, this is the first time I've ever had an opportunity to even talk about this. It's not like birth for a human being. It's much easier than that. And so she will be able to get up fairly soon. That youngster, of course, is going to stand up now. You hear that? Shaking its head, free of the amniotic fluid. Okay. And I mean, zebras are not seasonal breeders. They are fairly aseasonal, but there'll be a peak during the wet season. So, I mean, it would be normal for them to be having foals now, and we have seen a few foals around, little ones, but they will peak, they will birth, throughout the year. This is fantastic. I'm going to try and move everyone. I'm going to roll forward, and then I'm going to just do a little loop around quickly. We're just going to do a loop around like this, very slowly, so that we can get a proper view. We're not going to get any closer, but we're going to get an easier view. There we go. Now, we're also obviously not going to put a light on this situation here. I just was a little bit close there. I don't want to affect her behavior, obviously. And a little thing like this doesn't need a great big flashlight on it. Oh, look. Isn't that spectacular? And it will struggle to get that amniotic sac off. She looks like she might be about to stand up. She's nudging it to try and make it stand. We've seen lots of foals around, and I think I've probably been overestimating their age. Look at it. Come on, up you get. Up you get, little fella, come on. Before we have to go off there. Look at the coordination already. Just born. I mean, it's not 10 minutes old, and yet it can shake its head like that. It can move its neck around. But you can see the neurons just firing there. You can see it's You know, it's kind of shaking around a bit. Oh, this is wonderful. Dave, how are you feeling?
Incredible.
Jeez. Now, in theory, within half an hour, that thing will be standing. And I'm so pleased, and I never thought I'd say this, that the Nguhuma Pride is nowhere to be seen. Well, no lions around here at the moment. They're on Simbambili, and I hope they stay there. And as all of you are saying, there's an enormous outpouring of amazement at what is a tender moment out here. And I'd get ragged for it quite often. There she's going to get up. I talk about the savagery of the wild, but this is just quite the opposite, the tenderness and perfection of motherhood. Look at that. There we go. That's totally normal. She'll wait for the afterbirth, of course. And now she'll help the little one, hopefully, to stand up. Now, Charlie, you want to know if the afterbirth or placenta, look, it's good, come on, stand up. If the afterbirth is going to be eaten by the mother, I know, oh, here we go. Charlie, I think she will probably eat the sac. I'm not sure if she'll eat the entire afterbirth. She may well. Oh, you clever mare. Look, he's trying to stand up. I must try and keep my voice down, of course. I don't want to give them a fright. We're not far. We're probably about 30 meters, 100 feet. Look, he's trying. Look. And Gracie, you're age 8, but wise well beyond your years. You say nature took away a zebra from us the other day and gave us another one today. Oh, look. Come on, up you get, little thing. Yep, nearly. Look. That's it. Mum cleaning him off. And I think that apart from has an important function in making sure that the zebra doesn't smell bad, so that it starts to smell clean almost immediately, because obviously that kind of amniotic fluid will have a distinctive smell that might attract a predator. So she will make sure to get rid of that smell. And she looks like she might be even having a go at the amniotic fluid now, just trying to remove it from herself. You can see the bag is still inside her there. And that will be attached to the placenta, which I don't think in a zebra it's reabsorbed. I'm pretty sure that it will come out. There you go. Oh, it's so hard. Of course, it's next. There. Come on. Don't trip on your baby. Completely unlike an elephant, of course, which never gets anywhere close to tripping on a youngster. Dave, I'm going to try and sneak a little bit forward. Everybody, it's almost dark out here. We're pushing the camera to its limit. Are we at full gain there, Dave?
Yeah.
So I'm afraid this is as bright as it's going to get. Yeah. It's the best view we're going to get of the little one, I'm afraid. Oh, this is too awesome. Now, Draw, you're on YouTube. You want to know if she's stimulating the baby with licking. I don't, you know, I know so little about this, and I think we probably all do. I'm sure there's an element of stimulation. I'm sure there's an element of the baby now bonding with the mother. That's it. Come on, up you get, little thing. Bonding with it, probably imprinting the stripe pattern or imprinting the scent. Oh, yes, so close. Or imprinting this, you know, the smell. And there'll be an element of, I think, just cleaning to get rid of the scent. They'll walk away from here as soon as that little one can get up. Look how small it is. It's so tiny. Oh, that's it. Oh. Look. Lisa, roll on me. You want to know if there's any truth to the rumor that animals do eat the afterbirth so as not to attract predators. I think absolutely. I also think that it's a major nutritional cost to give birth to an afterbirth, and to waste that nutrition would be silly. So there are two major reasons, especially for a herbivore like this. You can see the neurons firing in that little thing's brain, telling its muscles, you are strong enough, get up. You can see she's not trying to help it get up. But it's getting stronger. Every single time it tries, a new neural net pathway is created and it gets closer to getting up. Come on. Please get up before we have to leave you. Now, cat in Tampa, you make an interesting observation, which is not entirely accurate. You say that the rest of the zebras moved away, and interesting that they're coming back now that she's given birth. Cat, they were all around this one lying down when we drove up here. Look where the road is. You can see where the road is. We were so close to her, and they moved off. Oh, look, it's so close. And now they are moving back. You're absolutely right. Not sure how protective they would be. I know zebras are not particularly protective, really. We did have that horrible incident. Oh, look at that. Come on, little thing, up you get. Oh. Yeah. As you say, Zoe, Dave sure has been baptized in the Wild Earth experience. Dave doesn't know what it's like to take a quiet drive. Well, one or two. That's it. That's it. I think I'm getting overexcited. You take your time, little thing. Well, not too much time. Do it before it gets dark, please. So Dave and I can, with our naked eyes, we can hardly see that at all. It's just a kind of blob. The camera is blowing out the outline, of course. I'm sorely tempted to turn on the side light, but I'm not going to. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have any effect, but I'm still not going to do it, just in case. It's so close. Oh! Come on! And the effort to do that takes a human how long? 12 months. How long have we been here, Dave? About 20 minutes. Thank you, Annie. You say I make an excellent midwife. I'm not sure that I agree, maybe? Thank you, Annie. Come on, get up, little thing. Up you get. Oh, too tired. This is totally normal. There's nothing wrong with that baby. In case anybody's a young viewer, perhaps, in case you're worried that there's something wrong with the youngster, there's nothing wrong with it. It's totally normal, and it will get up. It's only been born now for about 20 minutes. They're normally up sort of about half an hour. You can see how close. Each time it gets a little bit closer to standing up. I'm just not sure we're going to be able to see it, unfortunately. Dave. That's that's about the best we can do, isn't it? Well, we've got 15 minutes to sit here, everybody. We might be able to keep you posted as it happens, but I don't know. You can't even see anything anymore there. Dave, I'll tell you what. Let's just move a little bit forward. There may be a little bit of light at a slightly different angle coming from the last embers of the day. It was nearly got up there. It's so nearly got up. There, Dave, I don't know if there's any more light in there at all. I can't see anything for the glare of this thing in my face.
It's a bit better then.
Is that a bit better? Whew. So I can I can see a small shape there. She started eating the sac. She started to eat the amniotic sac. You can't really see that, but that's what she's doing. I'm just going to narrate this to you, I'm afraid, everyone. I can just see the little one. It's still trying, but it's obviously quite tired now. She's now eating the sac. There. It's nearly got up. Still on the front. Oh, yeah, no. I think it's going to take another 15 minutes or so before this little thing stands. Still those jerky kind of neurological movements. Those nerves are firing, the muscles are clenching. If only there was a moon, that would be very helpful. It's trying. Still just the front end up. Still not the back end yet. Just amazing. Oh, nearly. No, not quite. I know you can't see anything now. It's just darkness. All right, let's go back to Scott. If this little thing stands up, we'll pull you straight back across.
I've been here. We've managed to get a few wildebeest births, but never a zebra. So, awesome stuff, and let's hope that it manages to stand up soon. I'm sure it will. And you guys are all very lucky to have witnessed that. In all my time, the only animal I've seen giving birth was a wildebeest on one occasion. So, it's not something that happens very often, as I'm sure James has reiterated already. We are on the search for something that may be less appealing to some of you. A scorpion. For my friend Matty, that was what he requested. He didn't mind where we went as long as I tried to find a snake or a scorpion or something interesting like that. And there is a big scorpion that lives in a tree around the corner here. So I'm hoping it's going to be around and not too scared of us when we arrive. And I'm going to get out my UV torch or black light in order to show you how it illuminates. Which is hard to believe. It's a pitch black scorpion that under UV torch will glow bright green like a glow-in-the-dark toy. Now, there will probably be many scorpions in various other trees or many other trees in this area, but because he's a very big one, I think we should target him as opposed to trying to find some small ones, because all you really see is their pincers sticking out of their ambush hole. Okay, there's some good news across on James's vehicle, so head along and we'll try and see if the scorpion's here.
It's up, everyone, it's up. You can't see it there, but I can just see it standing up now. It can't move. It's just kind of flopping about on its legs. I'm sorry we can't light it, everyone. I just have to reiterate why. There's a lot of debate over whether lights will attract predators or not, attract hyenas of darkness. And so for us to stick a light on it would be possibly the most insensitive thing we could possibly do out here. They give birth under cover of darkness specifically because they want to be able to hide the baby, be private. It can't move at the moment. It's standing, but it's teetering, wobbling but just exactly like you've seen videos of a foal. I mean, great shot there, Dave. Dave has maxed the camera out. It is absolutely nothing we can do. And so I'm afraid I'm simply not prepared to put a light on. And Rusty Pipe, you're getting vehement agreement from Nikki Austin in the final control, whose final drive this is in the director's chair. You say it's so wonderful that it's happening for her. She's agreeing, I'm agreeing, I'm sure everybody is agreeing that she's getting precisely what she deserves. And once in a lifetime sighting here. Unbelievable. So it is. Dave, can you even see it with your naked eye? It is still standing. It's standing behind Mum. Can't move. Mum's now kind of heading out a little bit towards the grazing area. The baby's standing there, almost doing the splits. It looks like a giraffe trying to have a drink, from what I can see. I mean, I can barely see it myself. It's certainly not walking yet. All right. I'm going to link across to Scott. He's looking for a scorpion for young Matty, who I think is Scott's biggest fan. So I'm going to sit here. I'll keep you updated as to what happens, but let's go to Scott.
Okay, so the good news is that our big friendly scorpion is home. He's in a small crevice in the center of this tree trunk, and I can only see a tiny little portion of his pincers sticking out at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to climb onto the hood of the vehicle and see if my UV torch doesn't illuminate. The little black section that you can see in that little hole is its pincers, and you'll see that as soon as there we go. There we go. You can see how black the pincers are there with VM's regular flashlight. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask VM to dim that light, and I'm going to climb onto the hood and shine my UV light, and you'll see how it looks.
And inside.
Oh no. Try to dim all the lights. It's risky. Can you see anything there, VM?
You see a little bit.
Tiny bit. Okay. Well, Maddie, at least you can see a tiny little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and grab a little stick here and see if I can't tease it out. I think that backfired. That definitely backfired. Right. Okay, sorry, Maddie. That didn't work as planned, and I think we've chased him further into his hole. But you may have got the slightest little glimpse of those little pincers. Well, they're actually quite big pincers in this individual's case. What wonder if we can't try and find you another one somewhere else that's a little bit more willing to show you, but we don't have much time, Maddie. We don't have much time. Let's see what we can do, though. Maybe we'll get lucky. Jill, in Oregon, you would like to know what is the biggest snake I've ever encountered whilst here at Safari Live, and it was a African rock python of about 3 meters. It wasn't very big as far as rock pythons go, but that was the biggest snake I've seen. Come on, one more scorpion or a snake. That is actually on my wish list, Jill, to see a large African rock python before I go. Interesting though, the Sabi Sands for me hasn't been a great place to see African rock pythons. I haven't seen too many, and the ones that I have seen also haven't been very large. Whereas in Zululand, a little bit further north of my hometown called Durban, there you get some absolute monsters and quite high numbers. Up to 5 or 6 meters and as thick as your upper leg. My comms causing trouble. Can't share anything. There we go. Let's see to fix it. Ainsel Ages, you've asked to see some bush babies, and we could get lucky, although in the coming... Oh, I think there's one sitting way up in the tree there. Oh, too far to see. Oh, there you can see the eyes. Let me creep forward a little bit. Oh, it's a genet. Oh, look at that. Look at how cool that is. Look at the silhouette. Fascinating. Wow. We got very, very lucky. This is by far the best genet sighting I've ever had with you. Look at its ears tweetering from side to side. Oh, how awesome. Now, sadly, we're not going to be able to get too much closer to it. Let me try and shine the lights on it just to see if we can't see a few spots. Oh, it's just a bit too far, and I don't want to go any closer for the fear of chasing it. They've got spots on them, but they're looking like stripes from here. That's just because of the distance. Their spots kind of go in lines along their body. This is the large spotted genet. Spots, not to the actual genets. And how fascinating is this? Look at its ears working in overdrive. Oh, I thought it was yawning, but I think it was just looking up. So it's essentially like a tiny, it's like a cross between a mongoose and a leopard, you could almost say. They've got very short legs, but a gold coat with black spots, quite large eyes. Absolutely awesome. Well, we're going to leave this little genet to be, and that's another special scene, and quite fitting as it is Nicola Austin's final drive. Nikki, I'm sure you've enjoyed it. It sounds like it's been great fun to be in your seat today, and well done for all of the hard work you've done since you've arrived on day one. It's been incredible to see you develop into the wonderful director and basically guide now. She's picked up so much knowledge in such a short space of time and is keeping us all on our toes now. So thank you for everything and well done. We're going to send you over to James. It's been awesome.
Yep. Well, an unbelievable afternoon. Zebra birth. We know Karula has got 2 cubs. It's fantastic. But a sadness, of course, because in the last time I will have Nikki Austin's dulcet tones in my right ear. And I just want to say what an immense pleasure and privilege it has been to have those dulcet tones in my ear over the last almost year now, and how much I have learned and how much I've appreciated and enjoyed your incredible sense of humor. I'll probably say the same thing tomorrow, but it just has been an absolute joy, and I've learned so much from both you and Scott, so thank you. Thank you to all of you for your contribution to the drive today. It was immense. Thank you very much, Dave, and of course to Scott and VM on the other vehicle. And after their tea party, wonderful tea party, and a big thank you to the Zebra, of course, who was so graciously showed us the birth there. So much of wonderfulness here in the African wilderness. We will see you tomorrow at 05:30. Stay safe and happy wherever you are. And remember this evening, Scott and Nikki, as you go about your day.